Welcome to the Pinnacle podcast. We've had a few weeks break due to holidays, but we're back.
Yeah, some of these guys part-timers. I was here.
Oh, sorry. Not everyone's had a break, and clearly some of us do need a break. The Pinnacle Performance Pod is our official podcast from Pinnacle Performance, a space to share real stories, coaching wisdom, mindset shifts, and everything in between. It's not about shouting over each other, well, maybe sometimes, Ross. It's about honest conversations. It's about practical insights and building a strong community, which we love about Pinnacle. So we've been away, and before we dive into the main topic for this week, which is a really, really good topic, I'm very excited. I'd love to know my co-hosts here, Andy and Ross. We'll start with you today, Ross, for fun. How you been?
Yeah, good.
Yeah?
Not bad.
What you been up to?
Is this like the learnings bit? Is this like
So yeah, just in general.
For me, it's more like show and tell this week.
A show and tell, okay.
It's actually a sort of shout out to the women as like it's be a bit of a disappointment for them, but I've taken what they've been calling my finger dildo off. There's their words, not mine, by the way, which has been my splint for those that are watching this will be able to see.
Explain
basically,
I
snapped a tendon, the extensor tendon on the top of my finger playing tag rugby. And basically my finger when it extended,
non-contact, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yep.
Clearly when I'd extend the finger, it would just stay bent. Basically the tendon that extends your finger just snap. So I've had it in this splint, which the girls have been saying either looks like a croc or a dildo for like the last 12 weeks, but now it's off. I decided to take it off, and now I've got to rehab it, and it's a bit stiff.
Interesting.
The finger's stiff.
Not much action, really.
No.
Okay. So learning this week is your finger splinters.
Well, it was more, like I said, it was more a share and tell and a public note.
And how are you feeling about it? Are you feeling good?
Feels better today. I took it off yesterday, actually. Yeah. It's not too bad. Yeah.
This is interesting because one of the topics we're going to cover in later episodes is training around an injury, aren't we? So that would be a good one to talk about.
Yeah.
Right. So, and otherwise you're good. You've been working all through summer.
Yeah, I've been working all through summer. Whilst you guys have been
such a hero.
Stunning somewhere else. Yeah.
How about you, Andy? How you doing?
Yeah, all good.
Yeah, what really you been up to?
I haven't been sunning it.
You haven't?
No, we are going away though next week.
Woohoo! Where are you going?
Going to Spain.
Nice.
Taking all the four kids.
This is a proper holiday, right? No holiday. Cycling, running, or swimming.
I will run every day.
You will run every day.
I will run every day. It's only an hour, isn't it? No problem. Try and enjoy ourselves as much as we can.
Nice.
And try and not do as much work as I normally do. I'll have to do a little bit. There's some things I can't not do.
Yeah.
But I reckon it'll be like, not even half an hour a day.
Awesome. And learnings for the week or since you've been gone?
Yeah, there is a learning for the week, actually, because obviously we had a really sad funeral, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
It was actually horrendous. And I think the learnings for me is, I think at the funeral, one thing resonated massively was to enjoy your best life. And yeah, shit can happen, can't it?
Yeah.
And to tell somebody. It's not about one of the biggest gripes I have in life, I think, is gossips.
Yeah.
I think gossips ruin society. Personally, we all gossip, but I think there's a level of it.
What do you tell me a bit more about what you mean there? So what's the level?
So people sometimes. I mean, we all know someone. I think it's good to have a bit of bounce and talk about each other.
Yes.
And I think
in a caring way.
In a way.
Yeah, in a way.
It can be caring or not caring, of course.
Yeah.
But I think when people are just literally gossiping about shite that causes problems in society, like, I don't know, did you see Dave down the road looking at this person, or did you see that? And then it gets misconstrued, doesn't it? And then next minute it's exacerbated into something that actually wasn't really true.
Yeah.
And we can all come up with
That's
loads
not helpful.
We can all come up with loads of examples of that. And I think no one is not guilty of that.
No.
I think it's a learning, absolutely. And to share. I think going back to the learning, I think it's just good to share. If there's something wrong, is to talk about it.
How do you, we could talk about this for the whole podcast, right? Because I struggle to open up to people on that sort of level. And how do you share? It's easy to say, oh, you must talk and you must share, but how do you, who do you share it with?
I personally think that in life, I think everybody should be working with a psychologist or a sports psychologist or someone that can help navigate life in an impartial way.
What if you can't afford it?
Then I think you can always afford it.
Yeah,
I
think
to
it's
a
that
level.
important?
I think to a level you can always afford it.
Wow.
If you're vaping, if you're smoking, if you're drinking too much, if you're spending on things that you shouldn't do, if you're doing retail therapy and spending money you haven't got, then you can afford it. It's BS to say that you can't afford something if you really want it,
Yeah.
and you want to help yourself. So you can get them quite cost effective. You could use a student. You could use someone who's trying to
learn and
to
grow.
progress in something, or they spent lots of money in university doing that.
Yeah.
So I think there's always someone you can talk to.
Do you think, and I think I know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask it anyway, do you think it's as important as your physical well-being?
Number one. Headspace is number one. Maybe you might be able to move your arm, or you might be able to squat properly, but your head's not right. That's a problem, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because all it's going to do is cause problems in your world, with your family, with your friends. And I think you need to drop it and let people be people and speak to people about your problems so you can navigate life.
Yeah.
Because no one knows it all. I'm learning things now at 47.
100%.
And I still consider myself quite young.
Yeah.
I wish I'd known it in 18, but that's in hindsight, isn't it?
That's life, yeah.
It's just life, isn't it?
So talk to people. You're
Talk to
learning
people.
this week.
That's my learnings.
Yeah,
What's yours?
awesome. So it's interesting. I've been away for the last 2.5 weeks, and with my boys on holiday, which has been amazing. And I think as a parent, you get so caught up in earning the money, get the process, make sure that the kids are all sorted, you go through the routine of life.
Yeah.
But actually stopping and doing something with them in the moment was so amazing. Like, we had such a great time learning to wing foil in Garda, and in the moment, it was just so lovely to just be like a peer of theirs as opposed to mum. And that's what I really loved about it. And I'd love to say I'm going to make more time to do it, but my learning is that when you're in the moment, to enjoy the moment as much as you possibly can. So next week when you're on holiday with your kids, like, mentally check yourself and go, I'm there, I'm with them, I'm having a great time.
Yeah, we've talked about that in my life. I think there's a fine balance, isn't there, between worrying about money, worrying about income, worrying about business, the next client, or the next thing you're going to do. But at the end of the day, they don't get that.
No.
And then you're like me. I'm not saying that my life's wrong, but then you're like me, looking at my children going, Jesus, how do they get to 18, 16, 14 and 13?
Yeah.
So when I go on holiday, I need to be present.
Yeah.
I need to be looking at them. What do you want to do, pal?
Yeah.
And giving them a cuddle.
Yeah.
Because then you're trying to fix things later in life, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's my learning, is time with those you love and really be in the moment. So today's topic, just to bring us back from all those wonderful learnings, is, what do women want?
In the gym.
In the gym.
That's why we're laughing about it, but we didn't even come up with it, did we? Ross did.
It was Ross's genius idea. He wanted to know what do women really want, and then we thought we had to make it about the gym, didn't we? We could talk about it in general if you'd like.
I've only got half an hour though.
The premise is, and obviously being a woman myself, women's needs are slightly different from men's, aren't they? We've got hormones raging around, we've got different bone health, bone density, we've got muscle mass and all of that sort of stuff. And I know as a woman, when I came to Pinnacle, one of the things I was genuinely conscious of is I didn't want to bulk. I didn't want to get bigger. I wanted to tone. And so that's different, because I think men might have slightly different objectives, et cetera, et cetera. So in general, I'd love to cover off, what do women need in the gym from you guys who are professionals, and I can talk about it from a personal perspective. So Ross, I don't know if you have any opening thoughts.
My opening thought might be, it might sound controversial initially when I say that the vast majority of women that I've come across or I see online or whatever training, is they don't always train hard enough.
Wow. Okay. That's interesting. Tell me more.
Well, the thing is, women actually have a far greater capacity to train harder than men. Their recovery time in the gym is often quicker.
Really?
So you have that capacity.
Is that genuine?
Yeah, like I will often let's put a man and a woman side by side, and I give them that very similar training session, maybe
Yeah.
same exercises, but obviously slightly different weights.
Yeah.
The woman between sets will recover far quicker than the man would.
Is that because the man's lifting heavier weights?
There's a bit of that, but
That's all relative, that is.
yeah, it was all
It's only
relative.
relative.
Tell me,
It's all relative, yeah. But
when you say
there's-
relative, what do you mean?
in terms of the weight that they're lifting.
Yeah.
But my point is that women can therefore still train just that little bit harder.
Okay, so this is interesting because I'm thinking about it from my own perspective. Do you think women tend to not train heavier because they self-limit themselves?
I don't know if it's because it's a thing they're worried, like you said, about getting bulky,
Yeah.
about lifting heavier weights or training harder, or probably more down to the individual. They don't like the pain of it potentially. I don't know, because I get men as
Interesting.
well that also, shy away from the pain of it. But I just find more often than not in the past, or certainly initially, and it's not even the women we work with directly, but it's from what I see from afar.
Yeah. Well, so on a physiological level, I've read that as well, by the way, that women need less recovery time.
Yeah.
And I've never dug into it more enough to be an expert on the topic, but it makes so much sense.
I'll tell you what it is. I get women come to me and they say, "Oh, Ross, I've been training for this long, doing my own thing, and I'm not seeing any results."
Yeah.
And then when we dive into like what they're doing, what they're lifting, the volume, the amount of times a week, and it's just not enough to promote growth.
Interesting.
You need to obviously stress the muscle.
Yeah.
You need to stress it enough so that it's going to grow back bigger and stronger, and it just seems to be
And
a
it
common
takes forever,
denominator,
doesn't it, to
Yeah,
actually
it just seems to
build
be a
muscle.
common denominator amongst women that they just by a few percentages. I'm not talking by like, it's not drastic.
No, but it's enough to maybe potentially make your journey longer.
Exactly,
slightly.
to where you
Yeah.
really want to be. Yeah, that's
Okay.
my overall sort of
What are
feeling
your
towards it.
thoughts on that, Andy?
When Ross says growth, though, on a serious note, it's not growth as in size. It's growing, as in learning how to train harder, basically. And then obviously then that develops into goals being achieved. I think
it's fascinating.
Yeah, I think you're completely right. I mean, women are incredible. Things that women do
Obviously.
that men can't. And the classic example, it's not to do with gym training, but like look at women coming at the back of pregnancy.
Yeah. And what it does to your body, and then
pregnancy is incredible.
Yeah.
That women do that. And obviously you can meet people who said, well, you're a man, you wouldn't. But the point being is, women are the one that have babies. It is what it is. Okay?
Yeah, you can't change that.
Can you? And you look at women when they've had babies and they've come back and they've broke marathon records and they come back into the gym and they're motivated to do that. I think there's obviously limitations when they've done that. We've had people train in the gym up until pretty much a month before birth.
Yeah.
No problem.
So this is really interesting.
It's actually almost the best time to train, because if you think your body is currently being pumped full of growth hormone,
Yeah.
because you're building
true.
something inside you.
That's a really good point, actually.
So if you think of the gains you can then make under that process, it's often a great time to train. That's why like experts will say, take it easy during pregnancy. And yeah, sure, you're going to take it easier from a safety point of view, but really you could almost, within a safe parameter, you could almost ramp up your training a little bit because of the process your body is currently going under whilst it's pregnant.
Yeah.
There are obviously things, there are limitations, obviously factors. One, that we don't need to go through all of them today, but one being elasticity, obviously.
Yes, that's a
because
big
when
one.
you're pregnant, obviously pelvis especially, so you're not going to squat as deep. You're going to keep it obviously within with a sort of the safe zone. Yeah, completely right. Within the safe zone. One key one is that comes out a lot is doing abdominal exercises pretty much weeks after giving birth.
Yeah.
It's just a no-go.
Yeah.
So going to a health professional, someone knows what they're doing, helps, hugely. And most will ask why. Elasticity, obviously, when you've had something growing in your fascia, needs time to be able to shrink back to normal. You'd be surprised actually how incredible the body is about recovering from childbirth, because it is such a beautiful but also traumatic thing for the body.
Yeah, it's a hugely stressful thing, actually. So coming back to the point that you just made, Ross, which I think is really, really relevant as a woman who does train. I had an example where I was doing my standard session with the best trainer, Harry. And there was another person in the gym, slightly more enthusiastic coach, who was like, oh, just put another 20 on, it'll be fine. Just put another 20 on. And I did it. And I did the session. And it was like, okay, hold on. I'm not pushing myself enough. Obviously, Harry sets it and we do it. And it's great. And every time we do it, he checks in with me and he's like, how was that out of 10? Was that good? Was it hard? But actually, on basis of your point that you've just made, I do wonder whether I don't mentally push myself enough because I'm like, oh, it's going to get hard.
The general thing I find between men and women, and again, general, emphasis on the word general because not everyone's the same, but men come in the gym and they think they can do something that they can't. So you have to kind of reel them in a little bit.
Okay.
Women come in and
think they
can't do something and they can. I've literally had women repping out deadlifts and talking to me saying, I can't do it. And I'm like, you're literally doing it. It's a weird mindset. And I'd love to know why women feel like they can't do something when they clearly can and they can do it very well.
So, okay, so that's interesting. And on a psychological level, there's something going on there clearly. So as a trainer, how do you support women? Because we're talking about women's needs here. How do you help women break through that barrier?
I generally try to break through most barriers, you probably realise, by humour quite often. And actually,
he's hilarious.
He is hilarious.
Light relief.
Well, I mean, he's Scottish, so we'll leave that,
Best nation in the world. And usually just let them do it and realise, well, actually I can do it.
Do you, so say you're training me and I say, oh, that was a 7 out of 10. Do you go, okay, we'll leave it there, or do you go, let's go
instantly? I always instantly, if you say that, I'm thinking actually it's probably close to a 5 out of 10.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, straight away. So I'm ramping it up.
Yeah.
I would also say using humor, great way of doing it. Obviously, everybody's got their own style. Adding, I like making the reps up like more. So
you like making things up on a Friday in general, mate.
Yeah, I love making it up on a Friday. So if I said to you, right, I need 10 reps out of that, and you go, really? Or in fact, let's make this up here. It's 20.
Yeah.
So I'll make it extreme, but actually I only need 10 from you. So you say 20, really? I went, oh yeah, it was 15.
Yeah, okay.
Actually, now he's mentioned that, there is a technique I do, but if I say it now, it's just going to give it away to everyone that I coach.
Just say it.
Well, just say it anyway, because the reason why I'm asking it as a woman, I'm genuinely interested to know what I can do to push myself.
Well, it's a bit of a cheekier one. If I've supersetted it with something else and you're off doing something else in the gym, I'll go back to the original exercise and just quickly sneak on some more weight.
Do you? Okay, that's interesting, because I sometimes wonder whether Harry does that.
Yeah, and it's often it is actually a genuine technique, especially amongst powerlifter coaches and their students, because if they just put a weight on and they don't tell them what the weight is,
so psychologically,
chances are they just end up lifting it anyway. It's as soon as you tell them what the weight is, they immediately have a preconception in their head of whether they can or can't lift it, rather than just giving it their 100% and see if they can.
Wow. That's all.
So it's cheeky. It seems cheeky, and we have a laugh about it because they'll do the exercise like, you've put weight on there. I'm like, no, I haven't. I don't know what you're talking about. But yeah, really, it's just another technique.
I guess, like with anything, if you don't know whether you can push the barrier or push the boundary, if somebody kind of does it for you and then you subsequently realize you can do it, it kind of helps, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That's back to your point about the whole mindset thing, isn't it?
Yeah, you can do it. Yeah.
If you come into the gym, I'll give you an example. If you come into the gym and go, today's going to be a hard session, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be a hard session, isn't it? Whereas tired, but I'm happy to be here and I'll give it a go. For me personally, that tends to be a great session.
Okay, so on a really positive note, you mentioned that you don't think you might, but at the end of the day, you're here.
That's true.
You're training,
showed up.
and training is about development and understanding what you're doing. And the great thing about in here, which I absolutely love, is we all get on really well. We're not competing for members or anything. So if we don't understand something or you're not pushing that person, we just talk to each other about it.
Yeah.
I've been with Dan years and years, and when you say you can do some more, he knows that you can do more.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, of course.
How did you know it was Dan?
I know it's Dan because I know him really well. Actually.
Yeah. That's his trick.
I know most people's like the way they are. That's my job probably to know how people are, but they can do that. And I think setting up for the right environment for people to be confident in the gym. We talked about the previous episodes. We don't need to now, but we have no mirrors. There's lots of ladies that are coming in here. And at the end of the day, you want to feel comfortable in your environment. And if you've got that and you've got a great relationship with your trainer and you're learning and developing and you're programmed as well, because most gyms you go into, like let's take commercial gyms, you're paying £100 a month. You've got a trainer pretty much eyeballing you on a treadmill, talking at you, and you're paying them £50 an hour.
Yeah.
That's not uncommon.
Yeah.
Not even programmed. So how do you know how to progress unless you're a legend and you can read off all the programs top of your head?
Yeah.
And that's what I love about it here. Because at least you're seeing progression because through your programming.
Absolutely. And I think my biggest observation of being in this gym is it's very much me against me, which I love. I never feel like there's an element of competition or anything, although sometimes it's quite nice to do the Friday sessions where there are other people because you can push yourself a bit harder. But my biggest takeaway from what you mentioned there, Ross, is perhaps as women, we don't tend to push ourselves quite as much as we could. There's a confidence potential there. There's a psychological thing, but it's a really good nugget to take away from this conversation is actually as women, we could probably push ourselves a bit harder. So that's really interesting observation number one. The other thing I think, which is an obvious difference between men and women, is hormones and different times of the month.
Yeah, we don't have any as men. We're just on a level.
Okay, but on a serious note, testosterone and the impact it has on your training is huge, and the effect that it has. And you see it in endurance athletes, you see it in sports where you need testosterone. Definitely makes a difference. And that's why women don't compete against men at the Olympics. And that's why with the whole trans movement, there's such controversy with males who have gone to be females, then competing. That's the difficult. We're not going to cover that one today, but I'd love to go back to. You haven't prepped for that one, okay? And no, let's not go there. So back to the original, different hormones driving your training. And as a woman's needs, tell me about your experience of that.
Well, firstly, it's a two-way thing. So I think it's a bit like, this is way off subject, but it's a bit like breastfeeding in public. Okay.
Help me here. I'm not sure where this is going.
Hear me out a second, right? Hear me out a second.
Ross.
I think
Ross is all for boobs in public.
There's like a stigma with it, isn't there? Where, you shouldn't be doing that. That's not a natural thing to do. I'm not saying do it right open.
It's like the most natural thing.
Yeah, it comes up though, doesn't it?
You're so right. Women have to cover themselves.
Why is it a stigma? Who's it a stigma from though?
Must be serious.
Yeah, who's it? Other women or men?
I think there's an element of not wanting to get your boobs out in public.
No, but if the woman breastfeeding is fine with it, why has someone else got a problem with it?
Yeah, well, I don't know.
No, I think where we're getting, we don't need to go in there. The point being is, it's women having the confidence to talk about monthly cycles.
Okay.
How they're feeling. I think it's important to know how heavy they are.
Yeah.
And how they emotionally affect you.
Yeah.
Because
on a physiological level, if we go back to training, when a woman is on her period, what is the impact that it has on her training?
Well, every woman's different.
Okay.
But I think where I'm getting at it is where we're coming from here is the female needs to be confident and not feel like there's a stigma, a bit like the breastfeeding thing, to be able to go, hey Ross, not out in public, not from the gym floor, but like, there's a trigger where they go pretty much, it's that period. I'm in this point in my cycle.
So what?
And then the coach then understands that and understands that the training will change. The weights need to be lighter, or they feel like they need to be pushed. It could go either way, couldn't it? But the point being is they know.
Because it does have an impact on training. Is that your point? Absolutely.
Of course it does. Of course it does. It has an impact at home. I mean, why wouldn't it have an impact in the gym? I mean, that's ridiculous. But
no, but honestly, on a physiological level, when a woman is on her period, typically their iron levels are lower, which means that they might be more tired because they're losing blood.
Well, you tell me.
I'm telling you.
No, but what I'm saying, that's what I'm saying though. No, but that's what I'm saying. We're
But
not
you're right.
females, and I've worked with loads of females that would quite confidently like come up to me
Yeah.
and go, Andy, I'm at this stage.
Yeah.
I'm due to go on my period tomorrow.
Yeah, which means
this,
Yeah.
and I go, okay, no problem. And we do it with the running coaching as well. Sometimes people are due to go and do like extreme events,
Yes.
and actually their cycle starts on the event.
Yes.
And you're thinking, oh, really?
Yeah.
You know, and trying to skip it.
Lots
and
of
all kinds of
endurance
stuff.
athletes tend to lose their period because of the amount of training that they do. So there's a lot about it. But I think there's a couple of things in there. Is one, your own self-awareness as a woman, knowing where you are in your cycle impacts how you feel when you're coming to the gym.
Yeah.
So
That's where we're going back to.
Well,
That's what we're
Ross
going
is still
back to
stuck
it.
on breastfeeding in public.
I think the women, I think, would probably argue that I think it's a two-way thing. Going back to like to go on point with it, it's a two-way thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
That for females in training, the coach understand. I've had people that have been 3 months pregnant, and I knew before the husband did.
Oh, really?
Because they're like, I'm pregnant. I haven't told my husband yet, but
Because and then
but
what
I need to tell you
here-
because I'm lifting weights. I'm like, oh, freaking brilliant.
Yeah, because it
Um,
makes a difference. Because
does make a difference,
And well, whilst we're talking about women's needs, I think it's important that you know that where a woman is at in a cycle.
Yes. You'd be surprised the amount of women that don't realise that it does have an impact on their training until you tell them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you do anything differently when someone
No,
tells
about
you?
the same. I tend to check in. If I can sort of just tell that they're off colour a little bit, I do check in and say, where are you at in your
cycle?
in your shark week, is what I was told.
In your shark week?
That's what they call it, apparently. I was
Why is that?
mortified when they told me that. Well, blood in the water, apparently. I was like, Jesus Christ, really?
Brilliant. I've never heard it called that, but okay.
Yeah.
What else do women need in the gym? What are your observations as coaches? What do women need? We've spoken about different training,
In
pushing
general, I tend to
ourselves.
find it, going back a little bit to the pushing themselves, I think they need confidence instilled, really. And I don't know if that comes from the outside world, their home life or their work life, or women in society in general. I don't know, but I feel like I just need to instill them with a little bit of confidence more than anything, because usually they actually get technique bang on quicker than men. Tend to be quicker learners than men. Men sometimes come in, especially if they've lifted before in another gym, they come in with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder thinking they know how to do something.
Yeah.
To be fair, we don't have many like that, and it's not really a chip on their shoulder, but it's more of like okay, I've done this before.
I think men are innately
confidence,
more
yeah.
confident in their ability, sometimes overtly confident.
Yeah, and maybe because it's just in a what has been in the past, historically, a male-dominated environment, the
possibly.
gym, that maybe women do come in with just a natural lack of confidence.
So you spend a bit of your time as a coach then building that confidence in people, and you say you use humor, which is great,
exactly,
but it's building that confidence.
Yeah, because like whenever every time I step into the kitchen, I feel a little bit less confident. So I'm sure it's like the same sort of switch.
Andy, thoughts?
Train of thought now, just going into it there. I think it's perception of a gym.
Okay.
If you think about it.
Yeah, we've spoken about that, haven't we?
We have spoken about it, but to sort of remind everybody a little bit, most gyms are set up where they walk in, reception, cardio, weights at the back.
Yeah.
And that's what people think. And if you go into like commercial gyms, you've got various different trainers. Obviously it's good and bad, whatever, but when in fact, if I was walk out, if I do this a lot now, if people ask me what I do, I say I'm a bookkeeper. Nothing wrong with bookkeeping, but no one wants to talk about bookkeeping because I don't want to talk about training, because actually, there's quite a lot going on. Gyms, perception of trainers, perception of gyms. If you think about it, before you joined here, you had a perception of what a gym is. Is it what it is now?
No.
No,
nothing like what
and
I
there's
thought it
gyms
was.
like this across the country. Of course, there's loads of us.
Yeah.
There's loads of us.
Obviously, not nearly as good.
But yeah, that will be the confidence, having come in confidence, and when they know that there's more women in here than men.
Yeah.
And the women are some really incredible athletes in here.
Awesome.
Great.
So that's great, and I've loved this conversation. It's made me think of a couple of things like myth busting. I think one of our sessions we could do a myth busting session on, and what I mean is testosterone versus estrogen. I'm talking about creatine, the use of muscle building things, all of the protein powders. That's an area I'm very unfamiliar with, and I would say as a woman, you read about, oh, you should be taking creatine because it helps with your journey. You should be thinking about protein powder. I'd love to maybe have a session on that next time. And if you agree, drop us a like or a text or a message on the pod. We'd love to hear your thoughts on what you'd like to hear about next. So I think it's been a great session, guys. I'm really conscious of time today. So thank you. Thank you for joining. And thank you for those who have been listening. You've been listening to the Pinnacle Performance Podcast. Like, follow, share, and speak to you soon. Thank you, guys.